The air in our home grew thick and heavy, not just from Brenda's constant presence, but from the unspoken tensions she sowed like poison seeds. She had a way of twisting Mark's words, making me feel like I was constantly misunderstanding him, or worse, deliberately antagonizing him. He'd say something innocuous, like, "Sarah, can you grab the mail?" And Brenda would later corner him, a mournful look on her face. "Oh, Mark, I worry about Sarah.
She seems so stressed."
You know, she snapped at me earlier when I asked about the mail. It's like she's pushing everyone away." Mark, bless his well-meaning heart, would often try to placate her, which only validated her victimhood in my eyes. He'd come to me, a furrow in his brow. "Honey, Brenda mentioned you seemed a bit sharp earlier. Is everything okay?" And I'd have to explain again that Brenda was fabricating her distress, that I was the one feeling the pressure. It was exhausting, this constant defense, this subtle erosion of our partnership. It felt like she was actively trying to drive a wedge between us. My own sanctuary, my personal space, became a battleground. I'd find my carefully organized desk drawers slightly ajar, items I knew I'd placed in a specific order subtly shifted. My jewelry box, usually kept closed and discreet, would be open, the contents disturbed as if someone had been sifting through it. It wasn't just curiosity. It felt like a violation, a deliberate disrespect for my privacy. I started keeping a closer eye on my mail, too. Bills, personal letters, anything that arrived felt vulnerable. One afternoon, I found a utility bill that I was certain I'd already opened and filed, placed back in the stack, unopened. Brenda had been rifling through the mail, sorting and presumably reading things that weren't hers. The sheer audacity of it made my skin crawl. The most disturbing changes, however, were happening with Chloe. My bright, bubbly 8-year-old had become withdrawn. Her usual chatter was replaced by quiet observation, her smiles fewer and far between. She started clinging to me, her small hand a constant fixture on my arm. When I'd ask her what was wrong, she'd just shrug and mumble, "Nothing, Mommy." But her eyes, usually sparkling with mischief, were shadowed with a peculiar anxiety. She'd jump at sudden noises and flinch when Brenda's voice, laced with its usual saccharine sweetness, entered a room. I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that Brenda's constant, invasive presence was affecting my daughter. Brenda's helpful suggestions about Chloe's diet, her gentle corrections about Chloe's behavior, her constant sotto voce comments about my parenting, it was all taking its toll. I reached a breaking point. I couldn't stand the quiet erosion of my peace and my daughter's happiness any longer. One evening, after Brenda had once again subtly undermined me in front of Mark, I decided I had to say something, directly to her. I waited until Mark was out walking the dog, and then I approached Brenda in the living room, where she was knitting with an air of serene contentment. "Brenda," I began, my voice trembling slightly, "we need to talk. Your visit has gone on much longer than we anticipated, and it's becoming difficult for us to manage." She looked up, her needles pausing, a faint, almost imperceptible flicker of something in her eyes before it was replaced by a look of bewildered hurt. "Oh, Sarah," she sighed, her voice soft and melodious, like a wronged angel. "Is that how you feel? I thought I was helping. I'm just trying to be a good mother-in-law, to support you and Mark. I didn't realize I was being such a burden." She dabbed at her eye with a corner of her shawl. "Perhaps I should just leave. I wouldn't want to cause you any more stress." The manipulation was so blatant, so expertly delivered, it was almost suffocating. She was painting herself as the selfless martyr and me as the ungrateful, unreasonable host. Mark returned from his walk to find Brenda dabbing her eyes and me standing there, feeling like a cruel tyrant. He immediately went to Brenda's side, his brow furrowed with concern. "Mom, what's wrong?" "Sarah, what did you say to her?" The accusation in his voice was a physical blow. I tried to explain, to reiterate my points, but Brenda's quiet sniffles and mournful glances spoke louder than my words. I was the bad guy, the one who had upset poor, fragile Brenda. I felt trapped, my sanity fraying at the edges. Later that night, after Brenda had retired to her room with a dramatic sigh, I was looking for some earplugs in her guest room dresser, trying to block out her soft snoring. I opened a drawer, hoping to find them among spare toiletries. Instead, my fingers brushed against something small and cold, tucked away beneath a pile of neatly folded handkerchiefs. I pulled it out. It was a small digital voice recorder, still warm to the touch. "She's been recording us. All of us. Every conversation, every argument, every moment I thought was private, she's captured it.